Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. According to one of the most popular crypto analysts on the entire planet, we just had a complete market cycle without an alt season for the first time in history. Which doesn't mean that there wouldn't necessarily be one in the future, as I say and many others do in the space. It's not that history literally repeats, it's that it kind of rhymes with itself. And so, to me, it seems like a virtual certainty that we're still going to see parabolic price action. We're going to see complete euphoria still at some unknown point in the future. It's just timing-wise, this is way different than what anyone was expecting. I can't think of one analyst, at least that I follow, that was predicting that there wouldn't be an alt season. So if indeed this is a separate market cycle, we're the beginning of a new market cycle, and it's the bear season here, and then we're going to build a base here and then blast off again. I mean, if that's the case, that's fine. I never pretend to know for sure what's going on here. I find it just as fascinating as everybody that's listening right now. But either way, I will share, this is part of what's exciting to me right now, and it's a reason that I actually purchased crypto for the first time in like 7 months the other day. More likely than not, this is the bottom. So either this is the bottom, or we're very, very close to it. And in fact, I'm going to share with you in this video, there's a model that dating back to the beginning of Bitcoin actually has accurately indicated where bottoms have been, local bottoms for various dips throughout the history of Bitcoin's existence. And it's indicating, I'll show you the chart a little bit later in the video, but it's indicating we're there. So unless it fails for the first time, which is possible, we're about there. And there was also analysis from somebody. It was a crypto quant CEO. There's this article from you today. It's titled, "Here's Why Bitcoin Won't Drop Below $20,000 According to Crypto Quant CEO." And so there are analysts that I follow that do think that we're going to see Bitcoin drop a little bit lower, which means that XRP could too. But pretty much everybody at this point, they're not expecting additional doomsday style scenario stuff from here. Now, markets are freaking out. People are in extreme fear. But I don't think it makes logical sense. Like, I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. I would actually personally like for the price to go a little bit lower, because if I do see another dip, that will be something that's going to trigger me to buy more crypto, because these prices, I just don't think they can stay at this range forever. Things are going to be moving to the upside on some unknown point in time. But look, before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Also worth noting that there seems to be an indication that XRP, along with the rest of the market, Bitcoin, everything's oversold. And it's interesting. So Bitcoin, of course, leads the market, and altcoins just follow. Arguably, altcoins have been taking a bit of a bigger hit than Bitcoin, just generally speaking. Because yes, while Bitcoin's price has been crashing recently, its dominance has been increasing. Bitcoin dominance within the last month even was down to 39%. It's currently at 43.81% at the time that I'm recording this, according to Live Coin Watch. Dominance actually increasing a little bit, even as the price has been falling. As I record this, XRP is at 43 cents. Bitcoin is at $30,000. Market cap for the asset class, $1.3 trillion. Here's the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I think this is the lowest I personally have ever seen, at least that I can recall. It's at 8 out of 100. 8 out of 100, folks. That's extreme fear for your typical retail speculator. And all I'm seeing is opportunity. I just can't relate to these folks. I feel bad for, I don't enjoy the fact that people are having miserable days, but I mean, we're all adults. We all get to make our own decisions, and if somebody's over leveraged or they don't know what the hell they're doing, okay, such is life. We're all adults here. But man, to me, I just think every day about the tremendous opportunity at hand. I'm not the least bit fearful, even if price goes lower. And by the way, according to chart analyst Rakesh Upadhyay, who wrote this article from Cointelegraph, I don't feel the need to read this, but he actually does see a path in the short term where XRP could potentially dip to as low as 24 cents. That would mean that I'm roughly at break even if that happens, because I think that my average buying price was about 25 cents. So I could be maybe down a little bit even, potentially. And if that happens, I'm not going to care. It's not going to matter. And if that happens, I believe that in all likelihood, a lot of other coins will be cheaper. I'm going to be buying. Now, even though that would be an amazing XRP price if we're ever given that again, I personally will not be purchasing more XRP. It's already my largest bag by a good margin. And what I do just for me, and you, again, it's not financial advice, I'm just sharing with you transparently what I'm likely to do anyway, is just diversify further in crypto. But XRP is my favorite crypto, largest holding for a reason. Real world utility, to me, that does mean something. I don't know when the rest of the world's going to figure that out, and I don't want to be caught with my pants down, if you know what I'm saying. Because what if out of the blue, like let's say it's the bear market, we already didn't have an alt season. What if this is the come to Jesus moment? And I just didn't know, because I never pretend to know like when it's going to happen. But what if this is when the cleansing happens and most of the 20,000-ish cryptocurrencies that exist, they really do go to zero? Well, that's why to me, if I've got real money in crypto, to me it makes a lot more sense, and I can certainly sleep easier knowing that it's in cryptocurrencies that people use. Because then, even if it goes down, I personally don't believe that it's going to go to zero as long as it's valuable for people and businesses. So there are reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing. So then there was this thread. There's this thread written by Ki-Young Zhu, who is the CEO at CryptoQuant. I'm not going to read the article. I'm going to share with you what he actually had to say here. And this is fascinating, but he's articulating why he doesn't think it's likely at all that Bitcoin's going to dip below $20,000. Not that it's necessarily going to get close to that, but he doesn't think it would go below that. And he had some interesting justification for as to why. He wrote the following: Bitcoin futures traders now are mostly whales. 50,000 Bitcoin flowed into Bitfinex for the last 2 weeks, and 39,000 Bitcoin seems to be used to open long positions. Oh, how about that? Long positions for Bitcoin. Bitfinex longs reached an all-time high yesterday. Think about this. As everybody's losing their ever-loving minds, here are the whales longing Bitcoin at these levels. It's so comical to me. It's a tale as old as time. And this isn't going to stop happening because there's so many. There's never going to be a shortage of clueless people when it comes to investing. There's never going to be. And people feel like, price is going down, I got to do something, I got to take action, when history shows that whether it's stocks or it's crypto, historically, the best thing to do is absolutely nothing, which is my investment plan is very unsophisticated. It is to literally do nothing. I buy and then I hold for years on end. That's it. I've never sold, I've never cashed out any of my crypto into United States dollars, but I plan to. But it's got to be worth way more, or else I'm not sufficiently enticed to do so. Anyway, and then Ki-Young Zhu then wrote, some say the price is going to crash below $20,000. Yeah, if Finex Whale, who has at least $1.17 billion worth of Bitcoins, gets liquidated, it can go below $20,000. The only plausible scenario is market manipulation by Wall Street institutions, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. And so there you go. A reasonable, measured approach. Doesn't think that we're going to be seeing that type of scenario. So even if we did see a break to the downside, it's going to be limited if he's right. And it would be probably quite short-lived. I think that at this point, though, there's only so much lower the crypto fear and greed index can go. So I guess it just goes down to 1 if that happens, I guess. It's just completely ridiculous. And then there was this, too. I think this is cool. So this is, again, another reason why it just doesn't make sense to be fearful here. I know the typical retail speculator is, but damn, the institutions and the whales, they are thrilled to be buying at these levels. Look at this headline from Decrypt. Institutions poured $300 million into Bitcoin funds during Terra meltdown. Reports. We're talking about Luna, as I'm sure the vast majority of you are aware. Luna has failed. It was a top 10 cryptocurrency as recently as within the last, about a week? When did this all start melting down? Whenever it was. But it was actually ranked higher than XRP this year. And so that's zero. We'll see if it's ever revived. But setting that aside, as this meltdown was happening, everybody's in complete and utter panic. Institutions invested $300 million into Bitcoin funds. Check this out. Bitcoin price volatility seems to have been a sale klaxon for institutional investors last week, some of which poured $299 million into exchange-traded Bitcoin funds, according to a new CoinShares report. And by the way, I didn't know what the hell that word was that I'm highlighting on the screen, klaxon. I was like, what the hell is a klaxon? It's a horn. So they just wanted to use a fancy word. That's fine, whatever. It's a horn. Now we know. You learned something new on the Moon Lambo channel. You'll never forget what a klaxon is now. It's an awkward sounding word, though. I kind of don't like it. It just, it's coming off the palate. Klaxon. No, I don't care for it. Anyway, piece continues. It's an unprecedented level of bullish investment in Bitcoin funds during extreme market volatility, according to James Butterfill. That's a fun name. CoinShares head of research. It's the largest since October 2021, he told Decrypt, and the 19th largest weekly since records began in 2015. So again, you can panic and lose sleep at night if that's your deal. I just don't think it makes no damn sense because we've been trending upward for 13 years despite massive pullback. So this is a massive pullback recently in crypto, and it's just not going to stay like that. I firmly believe that. Though there's scary headlines like this too, though. Look at this from Decrypt. Bitcoin's 7th straight week in the red sets new record. Oh no, shiver my timbers. Bitcoin's 7th consecutive week of losses is unprecedented. The previous 6-week record took place in 2014, when Bitcoin dropped from $507 on August 25th to $323 on October 6th, according to Bitstamp. This year, the primary cryptocurrency has suffered an equally dramatic collapse, from roughly $46,900 on March 28th to a Monday close of about $31,300, a 33% loss. Now, folks, think about this. These people are losing their ever-loving minds back in 2014. But when Bitcoin dropped down to $323, that would have been actually a pretty smart point to buy, don't you think? I mean, look at what it's worth now, even with this massive pullback. If those people hadn't panic sold, they could have an absolute fortune today, but people just don't have the emotional fortitude that's necessary to make that happen. Most people simply do not. It's unfortunate. Take a look at this, though. This is the chart that I was teasing a little bit in the intro of this latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam, and this is cool. For those of you that can look, feel free to take a look at your screen if you weren't doing so. This is interesting. So this comes from an on-chain analyst who goes by the name Plan C, and he shared this with his 130,100 followers. And he wrote the following, and this red line is what's important here. That's the Confluence floor model, and then this black line is just the Bitcoin price over time. So this dates back to the beginning of Bitcoin being traded. And so Plan C wrote the following. Like clockwork, for the 5th time in a row, has a major Bitcoin bottom been at or just before my Confluence model? Too early to know for sure, but so far, so good. It's just been interesting. It's like, this is the model. I don't know the nuts and bolts behind it. It's kind of outside of the scope of what I cover on my channel, but it doesn't matter. This is the model that he's got, dating back over a decade. It hasn't failed in all of that time, so it doesn't mean it can't fail. But we've got to be at the bottom or super duper close to the damn bottom. And here we have people panic selling. So, and you don't know anything for sure. I'm never claiming to, but if you just look historically, like what has occurred, what makes sense, I think it makes sense to feel good. I think it makes sense to be optimistic for the future here. But this would be cool. That means that we're really about right there. So, man, I really wouldn't mind if it dips a little further. I really wouldn't. But if I don't get that, that's fine. If it hovers around here for a while, I'll still continue to dollar cost average in, but buying various cryptos. But man, it's just not going to stay like this forever. Now, chart analyst Credible Crypto retweeted that actually, and he shared this with his 332,000 followers on Twitter. He wrote, "The most accurate floor model I have seen. No guarantees, but it has marked our bottom every time we have tapped it. Like the name, I see this as Confluence, and do not base my entire bullish thesis on it, but it certainly supports the idea that we have found our bottom." Okay. Wouldn't mind it. It's fine. Either way, and I kind of hope things go a little bit lower because I will buy, but if not, it's okay, whatever. I mean, really, truth be told, my bags were packed like last year. So, like I said, the last time I purchased crypto before recently was either the end of October or early November. So I was like, okay, bring me alt season. I'll just sit here and wait, and we didn't get alt season. So doesn't mean it's never going to happen, but we haven't gotten it. So, yeah, I like, even if I don't purchase more, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 2 thumbs up, guys. Like I'm ready to go here. Here's chart analyst Leb Crypto. BTD season activated for the next few weeks, in my opinion. That stands for buy the dip season. So he thinks over the next few weeks, this is going to be the opportunity here. And he wrote, "I expect $28,500 to hold for Bitcoin, of course. But my line in the sand is $27,200. Anything below that would invalidate my buy the dip thesis. Oversold conditions across the board with a great swing failure pattern for Bitcoin on the weekly. Expecting upside for the coming while." And so he's not the only analyst that's been saying this, but clearly there's been a lot of panic selling. And when that happens, inevitably, cryptocurrencies end up oversold, including XRP. That's where we're at right now. It doesn't mean it can't go a little bit lower, but we're already in oversold territory, folks. It can't stay like that forever. People will end up snatching this up, and then you're going to have either a bounce to the upside, like a V-bottom. I'm not convinced that's necessarily going to happen, or you'll just see some accumulation over time, and eventually you do start to dig out of it. It's normal. It's fine. That's what you should expect. Now here, and this is super interesting. Take a look at this. This comes from Plan B, on-chain analyst, one of the most popular analysts on the entire planet in the world of crypto. I was referencing him at the outset of the video. He shared the following with his 1.8 million followers on Twitter. This is here. I'll make this full screen for those of you that want to look. He wrote, December 2021, I was still hoping for a second leg of the bull market, but in Q1 2022, it became clear that this Bitcoin bull market was over. We entered a bear market since April 2021, a peak, and then he wrote in parentheses, yes, all-time high was November 2021, in parentheses, and then he said, now we are creating a bottom. Then a new bull market will start. Bitcoin cycle. So this is interesting. If this is true, and this is a separate cycle now, so this is, if that's true, then this is the third cycle that I've had any exposure to, if this is indeed true, and it's not just some sort of lengthened mega cycle. Okay, no alt season for the first freaking time in history, but yeah, market still moves in tandem. That's provably the case. So even though we didn't have that, the blow off top for altcoins to this point, then I still think we've got something to look forward to. But it does seem to be the case that many people are now saying that this is a Bitcoin bear market. And you just think back to a little over 6 months ago, people were just ripping on the blockchain backer, some of them being very rude because he was the only one back then that was saying, hey, Bitcoin's in a bear market. Now people are looking back and be like, oh yeah, bear market. So they seem to agree with him now. Go figure. How about that? And I don't mind the disagreement. In fact, I like varying viewpoints, so I actually appreciate that. I just don't like the rudeness. I don't care if people disagree. Just be civil about it. Like, somebody doesn't have to be your enemy because they have a different idea and believe something different than you. But the blockchain backer was always nothing but civil. Like, that's a model for how to behave like an adult, frankly. So he's a stand-up dude. But I'll go ahead and wrap up there. Best days yet ahead. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.